Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Will Rogers Jr., starring in an episode of Rogers-of-the-Gazette from 69 years ago, September 23rd, 1953, Farm Sale Day. And we thank you for tuning in on this TGI Friday edition, 23rd day of September, 266th day of the year, 99 days remaining until we get to 2023, the first day of autumn. British Major John Andre arrested as a spy by American soldiers on this date in 1780, exposing Benedict Arnold's treason. Lewis and Clark returned to St. Louis on this date in 1806 after exploring the Pacific Northwest of the United States. The discovery of Neptune by French astronomer Urbain Jean-Joseph Leverrier and British astronomer John Couch Adams on this date in 1846. Herman Hollerith patented his mechanical tabulating machine on this date in 1884, the first adding machine. First day of the September, first mechanical adding machine, you would have to consider the abacus before that. First day of the September Matincow action on Guadalcanal in 1942 as Marine forces attacked Imperial Japanese Army units along the Matincow River. President Roosevelt opened the 1944 presidential campaign on this date in 44, speaking at a dinner with the International Teamsters Union in Washington, and made a star of a companion of his.
These Republican leaders have not been content with attacks on me, or on my wife, or on my sons. No, not content with that. They now include my little dog, Fallon. Well, of course, I don't resent attacks, and my family don't resent attacks, but Fallon does resent them.
The joke was suggested by Orson Welles. The speech broadcast nationwide and is credited with FDR winning his fourth term. Facing serious opposition within his own party, then Republican vice presidential candidate Richard Nixon went on national television in the fight for his political life against a backdrop of accusations.
I own a 1950 Oldsmobile car. We have our furniture. We have no stocks and bonds of any type. We did get something, a gift. It was a little Cocker Spaniel dog, black and white, spotted. And our little girl, Tricia, the 6-year-old, named it Checkers. And I just want to say this right now, that regardless of what they say about it, we're going to keep it. Wire and write the Republican National Committee whether you think I should stay on or whether I should get off. I'm going to continue this fight. I'm going to campaign up and down in America until we drive the crooks and the communists and those that defend them out of Washington.
Time purchased for this program has now elapsed.
Yep, even political speeches ran over time. That was the Checkers speech, and it kept the American people responded positively to what the then vice president said. Jetsons premiering on this date in 1962, and in 2002, the first public version of the web browser Mozilla Firefox was released in 2002. 2011, the soap opera All My Children broadcast its final episode on ABC, ending a 41-year run. And in 2019, the British travel company Thomas Cook Group declared bankruptcy, leaving employees without jobs and stranding 600,000 customers abroad. Hotels throughout the world stuck with $4.3 million in unpaid bills. Passing away on this date in history, the neurologist-psychiatrist Sigmund Freud, also actor-comedian Cliff Arquette, best remembered as Charlie Weaver, and Joanna on Newhart, Mary Fran, all passing away on this date in history. Walter Pidgeon, born on this date, as was Mickey Rooney, musician Ray Charles, Ebb on Green Acres, Tom Lester, and Michelle Thomas. Happy birthday number 79 to Julio Iglesias, 77 for Jeff Stone on the Donna Reed Show, actor-singer Paul Peterson, my dad. Now there was a man. 77 years old today is Paul Peterson. From Mary Hartman to Mary Hartman, Mary Kay Place, 75 today. Bruce Springsteen turned 73.
In 75, we went into the studio to make Born to Run. I wanted to make a record with words like Bob Dylan that sounded like Phil Spector, but most of all, I wanted to sing like Roy Orbison.
Bruce Springsteen, 73 today. Klinger's wife on MASH, and Kiko O'Brien, the wife of Miles O'Brien in Star Trek The Next Generation and Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Rosalind Chow is 65. From Seinfeld, Jason Alexander, 63. And pro wrestler Matt Hardy still deleting at 48. Those some of the people celebrating the 23rd day of September is their birthday. If this happens to be your birthday...
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you!
From 69 years ago, September 23rd, 1953, Will Rogers Jr., Rogers of the Gazette. That's up next on this Friday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox here on your favorite radio station.
Attention Walmart shoppers. Now you can order one of the most advanced hearing aids on the market for hundreds, not thousands of dollars. Hearing Assist's most advanced product lineup includes models that use an exclusive app for enhanced control over what you want to hear. It's perfect if you have a smartphone or iPhone to hear everything better. And we have two great ways for you to get one. You can call the number at the end of this ad and order directly. Or you can call this same number and we will text you a complete list of Walmart Vision Center locations. We make it easy for you to hear better. Remember, call this number today to order and have a text message instantly sent to your phone to find the Walmart Vision Center near you. Here's that special number.
Call 800-360-0597. 800-360-0597. 800-360-0597. That's 800-360-0597.
Following the success of the 1952 movie The Story of Will Rogers Jr., who starred as his father in that movie, took on this radio role, Rogers of the Gazette. And that's what you're going to hear this hour from September 23rd, 1953. Will Rogers Jr., Rogers of the Gazette.
Ladies and gentlemen, the editor of the Illyria Weekly Gazette, Mr. Will Rogers Jr.
Thank you. A fellow once said that you ought to keep one eye on your children and the other on the politicians. I guess that's right, but if only one eye is working and you got to make a choice, just figure that the children will probably do pretty good for themselves.
Rogers of the Gazette, offering you again tonight, transcribed, another heartwarming story of a country newspaper and its friendly editor, and starring Will Rogers, Jr. Not a boom town. A man looking for a place to make a lot of money fast wouldn't give Illyria a second glance, or even a first one to tell the truth. But Illyria's prosperous in a nice, solid kind of way. The farms around have good, rich soil, the hogs are fat, and there's chicken most every Sunday. The farmers sell in Illyria, and they like to buy there, too. Nothing spectacular, of course, but trade keeps moving along. And to make sure the farmers don't forget to come to town, once every year the merchants of Illyria have a farm sale day. It's kind of a shot in the arm. It's good for the Illyria Weekly Gazette, too, because Will and his assistant, Maggie Button, put out a special farm edition for the sale, and all the merchants advertise. But it's a lot of work, that farm edition. And this year, the lights are burning late at the Gazette.
Special today only. Hot fudge sundae, 25 cents. Banana cream paradise delight, 30 cents. Maggie?
Please, don't bother me now, Will. I'm figuring.
What's a banana cream paradise delight?
I wouldn't know, Will. I've been trying to watch my figure lately. I stay away from Nick's soda fountain. Let's see now.
I guess it's just kind of a rich uncle to a banana split. Wish I had one now. Bet it tastes good. Lots of marshmallow and chocolate and pineapple syrup.
Will, what you need's another cup of coffee. You're half asleep.
Well, reading proof on these ads isn't very exciting, Maggie. I'm getting cross-eyed looking at the prices.
Well, then here's something to perk you up, Will. Listen to this. I just figured out what this farm edition means. First, you'll be able to meet the mortgage payment next month without borrowing money from Doc.
Sort of hate to break tradition, Maggie.
Then there should be enough cash handy after that so that you can buy a new suit of clothes.
What's wrong with the one I got? I'm used to it. They tell me, Maggie, do any big changes come over a fellow when he becomes solvent? It's going to be kind of a new experience.
Well, sometimes men think of making homes. Sometimes if they have a girl, they... Oh, never mind, Will. You don't think like other men anyway. Aren't you nearly through? I'm tired. I want to go home.
Well, there's just one more ad to come from Jasper Godwin's store. You better go out to the composing room and see how John's coming along. His temper hasn't been so good tonight. Hi, John. Isn't that press going to make it? Sure sounds sick.
Been nursing it like a baby all night long. Black tape, baling wire, and little applejack for the joints.
Applejack? My gosh, John, don't you think oil would be better for it?
Who's been keeping this rheumatic old hunk iron going around here, Will? Me or you?
All right, Applejack. But it does seem kind of funny for a press. Nearly through?
Whoever wrote this ad for Jasper Godwin must have written it with a mop.
Now, I helped Jasper Godwin write that ad. What's wrong with it? Looks pretty good to me.
Guess you respect the law too much, Will, because you don't respect the English language enough. All right. There she be.
I'll take a proof and read it as quick as I can, John. I'd like us all to get out of here before daylight. My gosh, I'm tired.
Me too, Will. Plain tuckered out.
Well, this will finish us up, Maggie, and then home. I'm just plain aching for that bed of mine. Let's see here now. Our new model tractors. Special on henhouse equipment. Special on commercial fertilizers. 98 cents a sack. Iodized salt box.
Will, wake up.
Huh? Still here at this darned office. Maggie, I was just floating away on a nice white sheet with a banana cream paradise delight beside me.
Will, you're just dead tired. You've got to quit.
Yeah.
Right now.
Well, this copy for Jasper Godwin's okay. So let's put the farm edition to bed. Well, I think I'll do the same thing for myself. You know, Maggie, someday I'm going to buy me an island in the South Seas. I'm going to go there and sit under a palm tree and just fish and look at the sky and swim and sail my boat through the Paradise Islands. Yep, someday I might do just that. Gosh, Doc, look at him come. Well, this is going to be the biggest farm day Illyria's ever had.
Hi, Will.
Hi, Mr. Peters. Ma'am. Those folks haven't been in town for months, Doc.
Yeah, must be something pretty darn special to bring Isaac Peters to town.
The last quarter he spent here was to see Tom Mix in a movie.
Oh, Isaac's a good enough fella. He grows some mighty fine pumpkins.
Yeah, and tries to pay his subscription to the Gazette with them, too, I'll bet. Here, look. Some out-of-county folks over there, Will. This street hasn't been so crowded since William Jennings Bryan gave a talk over on the square.
Power of the press, Doc. This farm edition's a pretty big thing.
There's something fishy. Been any more of those oil promoters around selling leases, Will?
Nary a one. Doc, you gotta realize what a little paper like ours can mean to a community.
You puff up any more and you'll explode, and I'm not going to put you back together.
What are you two doing out here in front of the office?
Hello, Maggie.
Hi, Maggie.
You counting the house?
Quite a day, eh, Maggie? Guess it was worth all the work we did.
Well, it certainly are a lot of people. Jasper Godwin's doing a land office business.
Well, now, that's because he ran the biggest ad in the Gazette.
Well, that does it, Will. Go inside and tell John I said he should cut you down to size. I'm going to walk down to Godwin's and investigate the big attraction.
Going in, Maggie?
Well, there is another paper next week. We could start figuring out what we're going to fill it up with.
Yeah. Yep. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. You know, Maggie, there's nothing like a newspaper to create prosperity in a town. Casey Jones mounted to the cabin. Casey Jones, orders in his hand. Casey Jones mounted to... Say, Maggie, what'd the almanac predict for next week?
Oh, what'd you say, Will?
I was wondering about the almanac forecast. Oh, but I'll look it up later. Casey Jones, orders in his hand. Casey Jones, mounted to the cabin.
Will.
What's the matter, Doc?
Will, what in tarnation did you print in this farm edition?
Mostly ads. Oh, there's nothing in it to hurt anybody's feelings.
Well, folks are darn near rioting over Jasper Godwin's out in back where he stores the fertilizer.
Well, that's a pretty strange place to be having a riot. In Jasper Godwin's fertilizer department.
Well, you've got something to do with it, Will. Everybody's waving the Gazette and yelling at the top of his lungs. Godwin's about ready to head for his tornado cellar.
Oh, I sure don't understand what all the fuss is about.
Could it be something about the ad, Will? You were awful sleepy the other night.
Yeah, I was for a fact, but I remember reading proof on it. Now, well, looks all right to me. Special on commercial fertilizer, 98 cents a sack, iodized salt blocks. Wait a minute. That's not right. It couldn't be. It shouldn't read 98 cents a sack. It should read $2.98.
Oh, Will.
Good gosh. And they're actually riding over there at Godwin's, Doc?
Next thing to it. Well, I guess you were right at that, Will. The press is sure mighty powerful. Like that fella Ajax.
Don't rub it in, Doc.
You ever been to Mexico, Will?
No, I haven't.
Well, it's nice and far off. It might be a good idea to go there because Jasper Godwin can be a hard man.
Jasper Godwin can be a very hard man.
And if I was you, Will, I'd go darn soon.
Too late. Look, crossing the street.
Too late. Well, I just can't be witness to this slaughter. I'll be out back with John.
Tons of it. They want tons of it. At 98 cents. Will, do you know what you've done?
Yeah, I made a mistake. And, well, gee, I just don't know how to tell you, Jack.
I don't want you to tell me anything. I don't want apologies. I can't sell any gosh darned apologies.
Well, sometimes apologies are hard to buy, too, Jack.
And I don't want any of your wise talk either, Will. My place is a madhouse. People are pouring in from all over to buy that fertilizer at 98 cents. I don't blame them. It's one heck of a bargain. In fact, it's such a bargain that every bag I sell costs me $1 right out of my own pocket.
Well, Jasper, I'm sorry. And, well, I'll try and make it up to you. I'll run a correction and maybe some free advertising.
Advertising. After this, I don't want to even hear the word advertising again. I'm holding you responsible for this mess, Will, and you're going to have to stand good for every dollar I lose.
Well, all right, Jasper, but if you keep on selling that fertilizer at 98 cents, you're going to be the sole owner of the Illyria Gazette by noon today. Looks to me like you just better call off that sale.
And lose 20 years' goodwill? Nothing doing.
Well, maybe if I went over to your store and talked to those folks and told them that the Gazette was entirely at fault, Maybe offer 'em something in place of the fertilizer.
Like what?
Well, all I've got's a Gazette. I could offer free subscriptions.
Well, that might work. But you better get on over there fast, because every bag I sell is costing you $1.
Oh, Will, what a terrible thing.
Yeah. Well, two things you can't do in this life, Maggie. Swim the Pacific Ocean underwater and run a newspaper without making some mistakes. Well, I guess I'd better go down to Godwin's and see what I can do.
Will,
Uh-huh.
try not to offer too many free subscriptions. You know what newsprint costs.
About the same as gold, don't it?
The Gazette's going to take an awful beating if the free list gets much longer.
In addition to his brief career as an actor, Rogers was a serviceman, a congressman, a delegate to the Democratic National Convention 48, 52, and 56, and he retired to his ranch in Tupac, Arizona, had several strokes, heart problems, hip replacements, and committed suicide. Rogers of the Gazette, September 23, 1953, on Classic Radio Theater.
Has someone in your family lost a job recently, and now you can't afford your mortgage payment? Or do you have a rental property and your tenants aren't paying you? We can come to the rescue and pay you cash for your home immediately. Yes, sell your home and get cash all over the phone without dealing with real estate agents or having to waste time showing your home to lukewarm buyers. You don't need to lose your house to foreclosure. If you have equity in your home, we'll buy your home and give you cash within days, all in a simple over-the-phone and virtual process. Call now before your situation gets worse. Sell a home you can't afford or just need anymore and get the cash you need today. Call this number now.
800-477-4612. 800-477-4612. 800-477-4612. That's 800-477-4612. Paid for by Want to Sell.
Thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on this Friday, an episode of Will Rogers of the Gazette, as it was broadcast Wednesday, September 23rd, 1953, in the newspapers of that Wednesday 69 years ago. These were some of the headlines. The American Federation of Labor yesterday expelled its longshoremen's union on the grounds that it harbors gangsters, racketeers, and thugs. The AFL convention voted to oust the 60,000-member International Longshoremen's Association despite a personal appeal on the convention floor from 69-year-old ILA President Joseph P. Ryan. The union had been accused by crime investigators of being infiltrated with criminal elements on the New York and New Jersey waterfronts. The vote for expulsion, 72,362 to 765. Secretary of the Treasury Humphrey drew applause from 3,800 bankers yesterday with an unqualified statement that personal income taxes will drop and the excess profits tax will die on December 31st as scheduled. Humphrey spoke after President Eisenhower urged the American Bankers Association to join in the quest for truly American answers to national problems. They should seek, the president said, policies that are sound for all Americans, not for just one class, group, or segment, but for all. Chairman Philip Young of the Civil Service Commission said last night the Eisenhower administration expects to drop another 100,000 workers from the federal payroll by next June 30th. This would make a total reduction of about 188,000 since the Republicans took office last January 20th. Young emphasized, however, that more than half of the forthcoming reductions will be written off in normal turnover procedures by not filling vacancies, retirements, and other types of separation that occur regularly. Former Secretary of Labor Martin Durkin yesterday accused President Eisenhower of breaking his word on proposed changes in the Taft-Hartley law. The White House promptly denied the charge. Durkin told the American Federation of Labor convention in St. Louis the president promised him last month to support a set of proposed amendments to the labor relations law, but then said 3 weeks later he couldn't go along with them. The United Nations rebuffed twice yesterday a stubborn move by Russia's Andrei Vyazhinsky to reopen the whole question of who will sit in the Korean Peace Conference. The General Assembly voted 11-2, by which the steering committee decided against recommending that the Assembly take up the Russian proposal. The Soviet bloc plus Sweden, Burma, and Indonesia voted in the Assembly in favor of reopening the Korean Peace Conference debate. 10 countries abstained. An exercise testing America's air defenses, sprung with touches of realism and somewhat as a surprise, sparked an electrifying report yesterday that a Russian flyer had landed in Illinois. The flyer turned out to be a strangely garbed Russian-speaking U.S. air intelligence airman, wearing a red star and hammer and sickle insignia on his fur-lined cap. He played his role for 3 hours in a jail cell before jailers learned his true identity. Lieutenant Frank J. Cunnan, head of the Air Intelligence Service Squadron at O'Hare Airport near Chicago, blamed a leak of information for the hassle. And those some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Wednesday, September 23rd, 1953. On your radio, the conclusion of Rogers of the Gazette, starring Will Rogers, Jr., from 69 years ago, September 23rd, 1953. The conclusion next on this Friday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-772-6113. 800-772-6113. 800-772-6113. That's 800-772-6113.
On Saturday's Classic Radio Theater, another of the historical dramas by Edward Arnold, Mr. President, from 72 years ago, September 24th, 1950. The widowed president faces problems not only with his son, but with a battle over tariffs. That's coming up on Saturday's Classic Radio Theater. But now the conclusion of Rogers of the Gazette, starring Will Rogers, Jr., 69 years ago, September 23rd, 1953.
Mr. Peters, if you just give me time, I'd like to demonstrate this track.
It's a pretty piece of machinery, all right, young fella, but
Indeed, you can't go wrong on it. Now, Mr. Peters, if I...
Don't push me. Jasper Godwin teach you that? I want to get some of this fertilizer special before I even talk about buying a tractor. Ask if you've seen Rogers around. I heard he was in the store.
No, Mr. Godwin, but Mr. Peters here, he wants...
I know, fertilizer. Isaac, I'll have to send to you later. I'm in a rush. Rogers! Rogers, over here!
Oh, pardon me. Ma'am, I didn't mean to trample all over you. Hey, here I am, Jasper. Nice big crowd you got.
It's just big. Now, look, do something. Hop on that counter over there and say your piece. I'll ring a bell or something so they'll listen to you. Come on.
All right, Jasper. You know, I kind of feel like the fellow who jumped off a cliff so he didn't get run over by a truck.
Will's got something to say.
All right, now. Quiet. Attention, ladies and gentlemen, attention. I know how much you appreciate a good bargain, like this deal on fertilizer and Jasper Godwin's ad. But now, quiet a moment. But there's been a little mistake in the Gazette. Now, I know that most all of you have driven a good many miles to get here, and I sure wouldn't want to see you disappointed. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. To the Gazette, well, that's how it is. Free subscriptions to the Gazette for those who don't get the fertilizer. I hope they're pacified all right now.
They better be. Maybe next time you'll be more careful with that paper of yours.
I will. I certainly will.
Hey, Will, what's the rush?
Hi, Zach. How are you?
Terrible. Farm sale day. You know what I've sold so far? One of them newfangled plastic lawn rakes and a plug for a kitchen sink. There ain't a soul inside my place.
Well, it could be worse, Zach. Nobody had invented plastic. Say, I got to get back to the office. Expecting some people. A lot of them.
No, wait a minute, Will. Tell me, what's going on down the street there, down at Godwin's?
A lot of folks are buying things.
Just fertilizer, I'll bet that. Darn fool.
Oh, no. Different things, too.
Like what?
Well, F. Ormsby told me he bought a hand machine.
Big stuff like that, huh?
Yep. Oh, Zach, why don't you have a little sale?
Huh?
It's not too late.
I ain't gonna run no giveaway like that fool Jasper Godwin.
Jasper's building thousands of dollars in goodwill. Maybe you lose a little today, but he'll show a big profit tomorrow. Now, that's modern merchandising, Zach. Now, if you were to put up a big sign in the window advertising that fertilizer at 88 cents, I'll just bet you'd pull in a lot of customers away from Godwin.
No, I'd be losing money.
Maybe you'd be making money, Zach. F. Ormsby up there bought a hand machine while he was waiting around to get at the fertilizer.
Don't keep talking about that hand machine, Will. It gives me chills and fever knowing Godwin put that in the cross.
Well, now, here's the notion, Zach.
Right.
Just put out a sign advertising fertilizer at 88 cents and say, as long as it lasts. And that way you can cut off the sale whenever you please. Get the idea?
Yeah. Hey, you might do that. Okay, I'll try it.
Good. Oh, say, Zach, mind doing me a little favor?
What's that?
You might just casually mention to those folks who buy the fertilizer from you that I won't be expecting them down at the Gazette.
Wait a minute, what kind of an axe are you grinding here, Will?
Not an axe, Zach. Just a little hatchet. So you better get moving. See a lot of people down there leaving Godwin.
Yeah? What the dickens is going on in this town?
People move in herds when they smell a bargain. Maybe they smell one here already, Zach.
But I ain't even got my sign up yet, Will.
Well, now that is strange, isn't it? Well, what's the matter, Maggie? You and Doc look as if you had a toothache or something.
No, a headache. Doc told me about your generous little speech at Godwin's.
Oh, that.
Yeah, that. Why didn't you just let Godwin sue you?
It wouldn't have been fair to him, Doc. I had to take him off the spot.
Oh, bosh. Jasper Godwin's got more money than he can count on a long summer day. You just let him talk you into committing suicide.
We can't give away all those free subscriptions, Will.
Don't worry about it, Maggie.
You seem mighty calm, Will, for a man walking the plank. How come that glint in your eye? You look like David Harum after a morning of horse trading.
Maybe I just outfoxed a couple of foxes.
What happened?
Well, coming back from Godwin's, I passed Zach Byers' place. Zach isn't doing so good. He doesn't even qualify as a rival for Godwin's.
Zach's getting too ornery to run a store. Told him years ago we ought to stop using that quack health tonic, but he wouldn't listen to me. That stuff makes him meaner than a horsefly in August.
Well, Zach was so jealous of Godwin, he couldn't see straight. So I talked him into running a little fertilizer sale of his own.
Well, I don't see how that helps us, Will.
Folks are going to forget all about the Gazette subscriptions when they pass Byers' store and see fertilizer on sale at 88 cents.
Elephants and farmers never forget when they're offered a good deal. If you got up and did a jig and promised free subscriptions to the paper, they'll be here to get 'em if they have to come through the eye of a tornado.
Well, they won't expect to get both the fertilizer and the free subscriptions, will they, Doc?
They won't? Just wait and see, Will. Wait and see. Well, I gotta go. It's about time Miss Plunkett was having that baby. I'll see you.
Doc's wrong, Maggie, isn't he?
I hope so.
But you don't think so.
No, Will. I'm afraid I think he's right.
Well, no good in worrying about bad news till it happens. I think I'll take a run out and see how the wind's blowing.
Will, are you going where I think you're going?
Well...
Nick's soda fountain?
Oh, I just thought I might drop in there, Maggie, and see how things are going for Nick.
And maybe just by chance sample a banana cream paradise delight?
Well, now, Maggie, it's been bothering me all morning. I've just got to know what that thing's made of.
Everything all right, Trask?
Yes, Mr. Godwin, but I don't know how this washing machine got pushed way over here.
That mob could have pushed down the Great Wall of China. What happened to everybody? The store's like a morgue.
They're at Zach Byers' place now.
What? Why would anybody go in that junk shop?
He's having a sale on fertilizer, 88 cents.
88 cents? Why, that darn fool will bankrupt himself before the day's out. He can't do it.
Mr. Godwin, I don't like to question your judgment, but did you have to stop that sale?
Of course. Every bag cost me $1 right out of my own pocket.
You know I sold F. Ormsby that haying machine.
Yes, that was a good piece of business, Trask. Congratulations.
Well, I also sold a harrow and was closing a deal on a tractor when Rogers started that speech.
You lost the prospect?
Oh, yes, he got away. That speech cooled him off.
Why, that's awful, Trask.
And look at these prospects. It's a pretty good list. Now, some of these people are brand new, names I've never heard of. And the worst part of it is I was just getting started. Frankly, I think you made a mistake.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Maybe I did. This list is like pure gold, Trask. A haying machine, a harrow, almost a tractor.
The best day we've had since I've been here.
I wonder. You know, we might just lure that tractor prospect back here. Remember his name?
Isaac Peters, I think. He was a hard-bitten old coot, but I think I almost had him, Mr. Godwin.
Take over, will you, Trask? I'm going to walk over to the Gazette and have a little talk with Will.
Zach Byers, when are you going to pay some attention to me? I've been squashed up against this washtub for an hour.
Come in. You're next, Isaac. Don't be putting dents in that there tub now. It's new.
You think I like it here? Why don't you get a store with some room in it, like Godwin's? This place ain't much more than a shed.
If you just came down here to talk about Godwin's, I'm not interested now. What do you want, Isaac?
I want about a half ton of that 88-cent fertilizer.
What? Half ton?
A quarter ton, then.
No.
Well, is it or ain't it for sale?
Well, I just ran out, Isaac. The sale's over.
Why, you no more'n got that sign up when I came in here, Zach Byers. What kind of game you running here?
Well, you've been squeezed off in this corner. I didn't see you. Well, I'm sorry about the specials all gone. I've got some other stuff, though, real powerful. If you got any melons in.
Same price?
Oh, no, it's a little higher.
I don't want it. In fact, I don't want anything from you, Zach. I'm going over to the Gazette and get my free subscription. And if that Rogers tries to give me the runaround like you and Godwin, I'm going to find me another town to trade in. Came in hankering after a new tractor.
A new tractor? Isaac, maybe for you I can find a little more of that special. Isaac, wait a minute. Let's me and you have a little chin fest.
My gosh. Hello, folks. Nice to see y'all. Be right with you. Yeah, Maggie, coming.
Will, we've been swamped.
Zach Byers ran out of that stuff sooner than I thought he would.
All these people want descriptions. I told them they had to wait for you.
Well, I guess we better start writing them up, Maggie. I did promise these folks, you know.
Well, it's just going to put us in an awful hole, that's all.
Oh, we'll survive, Maggie. The Gazette's getting to be a pretty tough old bird. You know what that banana cream paradise delight was? 4 scoops of ice cream, one of them pistachio, with cherry syrup rolling down the sides, nuts covered all over with it.
You're the most exasperating man on earth.
I guess I am at that, Maggie. But I don't mean to be. All right, folks. Just give us your name and address, and Miss Button here will type up your free subscription. Now, if you'll all just line up right over there. That's it.
Rogers, do I or don't I get that free subscription?
Sure, Isaac, but you don't have to go biting my head off.
Well, I've been getting the runaround all over town, and I want to know what's what before I do any more waiting.
It won't be long, Isaac. If I had another chair, I'd offer it to you.
Well, I got to see. Well, if it isn't Isaac Peters. Isaac, I'm sorry I missed you at the store this morning. I personally like to shake hands with all my old friends.
Hello, Godwin.
Well, let's you and me step into your printing room a minute, will you? I want to talk to you.
Well, all right, Jasper, but I'm pretty busy right now. Oh, what's wrong? I'm living up to my part of the bargain.
I know, Will, but I've changed my mind. I've been thinking over it. I hate to see people disappointed who've driven Lord knows how far to get that fertilizer, so I'm willing to put the sale back on. Matter of principle, Will.
That haying machine F. Ormsby bought wouldn't have anything to do with it, would it, Jasper?
Maybe a little, but that's not the big thing.
Zach Byers was underselling you. Doesn't seem to me like starting up the sale again would do much good.
I'll meet his price. Now, look, Will, there's a lot of people here in your office. How about making the announcement right now?
You work real fast, don't you, Jasper?
Well, I like to get things done.
Uh-huh. Meanwhile, Maggie and I here are practically giving away the whole newspaper.
I'm sorry about that.
Well, now you're a pretty smart man, Jasper. Progressive merchant and right on your toes. You ought to recognize a good piece of promotion if you saw it.
I think so.
Well, then how does this sound? Free subscriptions to the Illyria Gazette, courtesy Jasper Godwin.
I pay for them?
Yep, that's it. And Maggie and I will write them up inside your store.
Well, you're insane.
Now, it's the best way I know to get folks back in your store, Jasper. They're a little sour on you right now for calling off that sale.
If I just sold one tractor, I suppose it would be worth it. All right, Will, I'll do it.
Good man, Jasper. Now, that's what I call shrewd merchandising. Maggie?
Yes, Will.
We're going to take a little walk over to Godwin's.
Well, what in heaven's name for with all these people here?
Oh, they're going with us. And, Maggie, well, tonight, after the ruckus and all quiets down, I'd like to take you out and buy you the biggest platter of fried chicken in the country.
Well, that's about the best idea you've had today.
Yeah, Maggie, you know, it's just like you were saying yesterday. Farm sale always means activity for the Gazette.
You have just heard Rogers of the Gazette, starring Mr. Will Rogers, Jr., with Georgia Ellis as Maggie Button. Tonight's story was written by James Henderson and produced and transcribed by Norman McDonald. Featured in the cast were Parley Bayer, Harry Bartell, Vic Perrin, John Daner, and Joe Cranston. The special music was composed by Pierre Garrigank and conducted by Wilbur Hatch.
Found another cache of that little slice of small-town life, Rogers of the Gazette. September 23rd, 1953, 69 years ago. Hopefully you'll have a few more. It was only a one-season show. That'll be coming up soon here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Have yourself a great weekend, won't you please? And while you're out on this Friday, thank this station, support their advertisers. It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to come into your home each and every time we roll around here on a Friday. Now, if you'd miss a day, you don't have to miss a single show. All of our shows are available at our webpage, classicradio.stream. You can stream our shows, learn more about classic radio collecting. You can contact me there. You can learn how to build a classic radio collection of your own. A list of places where the shows can be downloaded. And if you like our idea of our expansion program, you can buy me a copy. That Buy Me a Copy money goes to help us purchase new classic radio collections to expand our library here so that we can continue bringing you new shows. That's at classicradio.stream. Thanks for tuning in. Tell your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.